In this video, we're going to be looking at the vertical counter movement jump. So jumping as high as we can upwards in a vertical motion. Now this can be done as a single rep or as multiple reps, usually 2 or 3 reps, as if we do more than that, we start to get a little bit of breakdown in form. Now, like most jumps, we can perform the counter movement with the hands on the hips. However, we can also use an arm swing, so swinging the arms back during the counter movement and then forwards into the jump. So the counter movement is simply a movement in the opposite direction to which we're jumping. So it allows us to produce more force. So I sit back, throw myself upwards to jump. Now many people will ask what's the correct stance for jumping. And it begs the question when we think about producing force during a squat. Now we go a little bit wider during squats potentially, barbell on the back, sitting down. We get great muscle recruitment and therefore we produce more force. However, we simply can't produce enough speed in this position to jump high. If I was to say to someone, perform a jump, what they'll do intuitively is bring their feet into this position. That's just quite natural for most people. However, we should be cueing a hip whip stance for jumping. So in this position, weight on the heel, big toe, little toe, so firmly on the floor, counter movement down into a quarter squat position before throwing the arms forwards to here and jumping as high as possible. So from the side, sitting back to here before jumping up as high as possible. Let's have a look at an individual rep. Hip whip stance, good posture, arms forwards, landing with bent knees. So we often cue as we jump, dorsal flex, bring the toes up. This is important when we're measuring jump height with smartphones and apps. Maximize that flight time, making sure we're landing in a good position with a bend in the knees. Now when it comes to jumping, we can have that force emphasis or velocity emphasis. So with the force emphasis, we want more ground contact time. So the longer I'm on the floor, the more time I have to produce force, and therefore it creates a higher jump. So let's have a look. More time on the ground, more height. Now if I want to place more emphasis on velocity, or more specifically reactive strength, which is that ability to forcefully and quickly transition between the eccentric phase into the concentric phase, then we're going to minimize the ground contact time. So let's have a look for a triple. So it's a little bit faster, emphasis on speed rather than force. But key cues or key technique points for the jump, hip whip stance, sitting back into this position, throwing yourself upwards into here, arms here, jump and land. 1s, 2s and 3s generally.